Okay, picture the scene. It's the early 2000s and you want to buy a CD player with built-in speakers. Something that's loud, something that you can play out to a group of people. Perhaps you've got like a dance class or something. Let's not get too bogged down in the details, but you kind of get the idea. What would you get? Well, first thing that springs to mind for me is a boombox. But then, what if you don't need the radio or the cassette? You just need the CD and the speakers. As well as it being loud though, you also need this thing to be able to take a knock. It's got to be rugged. Most boomboxes are a little bit delicate. You want to be able to throw this thing into the back of a van or a car or whatever and not have it damaged. You also would like the ability to plug a microphone into it so you could talk out over the speakers to the people. Now, what would you get? What if you wanted to buy something that 20 odd years later has the potential to put the back out of an old man who's going to feature this thing on YouTube? Perhaps you'd get one of these. Oh my giddy aunt. This is the Panasonic SY-PA100. And it isn't just a CD player with speakers, it does more than that. In fact, it's a bit of a weird mishmash of a device, and that is exactly why I want to show it to you today. So let's get on with it. Okay, so this was launched in June 2001 in Japan at 62,000 yen. It went on sale there the next month. When it was launched in the US, it was $530, and it was marketed as a personal music PA system. But as well as the features I've already mentioned, has a couple that you might not be expecting. I mean, the first one, perhaps, it's a guitar amplifier. It kind of looks a little bit like one. There's plenty of sockets on the back here for stuff like that as well. And it's got the ability to tune your guitar. It lights up things and you play, I don't know. I don't play guitar. I wouldn't know one end of it from another. It's something that I do fret about. But in addition to that, something that you might not be expecting is that this is a MIDI device, musical instrument digital interface. It's got an in and an out on here. It's got a rhythm section. These are all fun things to play around with, so let me just play a rhythm here. Quite nice sounds. That reminds me of Librarian Girl. Well, kind of. Yeah, I know. Also got a variation button here, so just have a listen. Oh, there we go. Plenty of rhythms. So stuff to play along with too on your guitar. Is that someone slapping someone's head? Oh, the Benny Hill rhythm. Anyway, and of course you can adjust the speed of these things. But that's not all. I mean, it's got quite a few things in here that I find very entertaining. Let's just stop that and go on to this. And that. Yeah, hey baby. We've been together for a long time now. And, well, it feels like a long time anyway. And we can play the variation, and we can also bring this to a nice stop when it comes round to it, any second now. I think it's time to stop, and that time is any second now. Please stop, because I'm sure I pressed the button. Here we go. We're going to stop. I don't think I pressed it, did I? No. Oh. There we go, I did after all. So there you go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let me just give you a quick demo of the features, mostly for this section here, but we'll start over here with the mixer. So you can see here we've got 4 sliders. The first one is the volume for the rhythm section and the CD player. 2, 3 are on the back as inputs, and 4 is the guitar or mic, which is plugged in at the front here. Then we've got the overall master volume. So you can mix the levels of those. You can also adjust the EQ for them, and you can do an overdrive. You can mess around with the echo for the microphone. So really we're just using this and this at the moment because we're going to play the CD player. You'll see the input selector on the front here. So if I select CD, well, in fact we're already on it, and I can just play that now and it will play the CD player as normal. And it's just your typical stuff. You can do A/B repeats, you can do a random play mode or a repeat mode, and you can skim through the tracks by holding down the track skip button. All very normal stuff. It's backlit though as well, as you might be able to make out there. So we'll stop that and then we'll move across to this rhythm section. So you'll see when I press this button, this goes out. So now that's dead. We're on to this part over here. Let me get you a bit closer to this because I just want to show you these features. Okay, now for me this is the most interesting section. Even though I don't have any musical ability and therefore I can't use it for its intended purpose, I'm still having a lot of fun playing around with it. Let me show you what it can do as far as I'm concerned. Well, first off, you'll see at the top here, hopefully you can read this. This is where you select the rhythms or chord sequences, labelled up as Rock 1, Rock 2, Pop 1, Pop 2, Jazz, Dance and Simple Beat. Each of these have 10 variants. You can see the numbers under these, labelled up 1 through 7 there, and then 8, 9, 10 here. Of course, this is laid out like a keyboard, not so that you can play it, but you can adjust the chord sequences to suit, and then you can save the information in here. Not something I'm really capable of doing, so I'm just going to use it with the built-in presets. So we can just go down to, say, Simple Beat at the bottom. This is for you to keep your timing as you're playing along with it. So I'll just press Start on there, and just pick a beat here, something like that, for example. Let me turn it up. And I'll just stop that there. You can, of course, adjust the tempo of that to your suiting, but let's do something a little bit more interesting. We'll go on to Jazz, and you see a couple of lights come on here. This has bass on and off, and this has ACP on and off. So that would remove the bass from this beat sequence, and that would remove the auto chord progression. We're going to leave both those on. So let's pick a jazz beat. I think 5 might be all right. Let's have a go. Let's go for that one. That's a nice one. You can see the beat light flashing there. Let's turn the bass off. And back on again. And if we turn the auto chord progression off, and back on. It's like a whole song. I'm thinking of using these as a background audio for some videos at some point. I'm hoping they wouldn't content match. I can't imagine they would, but you never know. Now down here we've got variation and start stop. And there's 2 sockets on the back which do the same thing as these. Now you could link those sockets up to a foot pedal to activate these things, or you can just press the buttons here. So let's listen to the variation. And with different songs, it changes the song entirely. I'll say songs. It adds a little bit of a flourish to them. But we'll just press Start Stop here to stop it now. It comes to a stop in its own time. The flashing indicates it's about to stop. So let's try another one. We'll just start this again. Perhaps not the best. And we'll do the variation. And bring it to a stop. Right, I've just deactivated my mic so you can hear this a little bit better, because of course you were just listening through this before. Now let's get the CD going, because once you're playing a CD you can use a mic along with it. Once you're using the rhythms and the chords and things, you can use your mic with that, but you cannot use the rhythms and chords with the CD player. But still, There are things you can do with this. I mean, we've got the echo on here, and I asked ChatGPT to come up with some things that I could shout out as a DJ, because I'm not really a DJ, as you might have noticed. So let's go on to the CD, and we'll have a go with some of these, if we can get this thing to play. I'm looking at everything upside down. So, here we go. Oh, no, let's try another one. Looking for something a bit partyish. That'll do. Okay, let me hear you make some noise. Are you ready to party? When the beat drops, I want to hear you move. This party's going well, isn't it? All my party people shout, yeah! Now, whilst I'm having plenty of fun playing around with this, its true purpose only really became clear to me once I'd found the original promotional Japanese flyer. You see, I'd been confused with this being called a PA system, because rather than it being designed for public address, it's more for a small group of musicians to plug their equipment into and jam. Now, if you didn't have a drummer, for example, you use the rhythm section. If there's no keyboardist, use the chords. But if one turns up, they can plug the keyboard into this and utilise its MIDI capability. It also suggests that you might want to play along to karaoke CDs, which explains the presence of the CD player. And then if you wanted to record your musical session, well, set the individual instrument levels using the mixer and then record the output onto a mini disc. So I'd imagine the reason why I've never encountered one of these before is because it would have been sold through the same shops that sold musical instruments. But even though I'm no musician, I'm still enjoying playing around with it. Stand by me, oh darling. Kind of nice sounds to these though, I think. If you like that kind of MIDI sound, and you'll know from the past that I do. That's it. Oh, funny but it's true, always on time. I can never remember lyrics. Now you might have spotted there, I'm going to have to talk through this because I haven't got the lavalier switch to the microphone, so let me just turn that up a bit and we'll turn the echo down. Right, yeah, so you might have noticed that there's not a heck of a lot of bass in this box. What we've got here are stereo drivers, and then we've got the woofer in the middle. So the stereo left to right are 15 watts a piece, and the woofer in the middle, that's 30 watts. But something's definitely not right here because it's all very kind of trebly. I mean, these are full range drivers either side, but you know, I'm missing that deep bass. And I was a bit underwhelmed. I thought, you know what, I like this device, but it just doesn't sound like as good as it looks. I mean, it should be a proper booming box, and it's just a bit normal. And it turns out that, yeah, I was right. In fact, I'll show you what happened. I wanted to find out if all the speakers were working properly. Okay, that's the last one removed, and I thought it's worth mentioning that these are all self-tapping screws. look a little bit rusty as well, some of them. So perhaps this thing's been kept somewhere slightly damp, but the fact that they're self-tapping means that they're going into wood at the back of here. Let's just lift this grill off. Now this is plastic, but I think underneath here we'll get down to a piece of wood. I mean, this is a big wooden speaker effectively with multiple drivers in it, but it's the centre driver I'm interested in. What I want to do is just hold that while it's playing some audio to see if there's any kind of vibration coming through it at all. I suspect not. I mean, these stereo pair here, they're definitely working. I've tried my stereo test and it is jumping between them, but I just think this one isn't doing anything. Let's find out. Okay, so the audio's playing. Yeah, can feel that one. And that one. This one is doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, that is stone cold dead. Okay, well, let's do a little bit more investigation. I'll just take the power out. Okay, so on top of this speaker we've got this plastic shroud. There are 2 screws holding this down. I presume once we get this removed we'll be able to get to the speaker itself. Right, well, this should lift out now. Ooh. Got a couple of free toilet rolls. Yeah, I know, base ports. And a little spider's nest as well there. So now that we've got that removed, we've just got 4 screws to take out of here, and then hopefully we can get behind this and just see if the wires are connected up to it. I'm sure they are, but it's the first thing I want to check. Right, we'll just lever this out. And there we go. Well, both wires are attached. Yeah, don't seem to be any problem there. Let me just play some audio through it just to check that there isn't a loose connection here. Yeah, unfortunately it's not that. I notice this one is a little bit loose, so I'm going to tighten that one up, but that's not the cause of the problem. It's something a little bit more complicated. Now, all I can see through here is just the wooden case and the wires going down through a hole in the bottom to the rest of the circuitry, which you have to access via the top. So it looks like I'm going to put all this back together again after crimping that on a little bit tighter, clearing out a few cobwebs, and then we're going to go in through the top and see what we can see. I was hoping it would just be a fuse, but I've been looking through the service manual and it doesn't look like there are your regular glass fuses you can just swap out. It looks more complicated than that, but we'll see. Right, so I've had a look through the service manual for this one, and I can't really make head nor tail of it. I'm not an expert in servicing things, but in the past I've looked at some older service documents and they seem a little bit clearer. This one is very technical and it shows a lot of circuit diagrams and diagrams of the machine itself, the various components, but unfortunately it doesn't show what I want to see, which is a row of regular glass fuses that can easily be swapped out, because I'm just hoping that someone has sent a bit too much bass into this and they've blown the channel for the center speaker or the sub. But looking through all those documents, it doesn't seem like there's any normal fuses in this. It looks like there might be kind of surface mounted resistor type fuses or something. Again, I'll probably be using the wrong terms, but I was just hoping I'd better swap out a simple fuse and put it back together. I don't think it's going to be like that. So the top of this should lift off, and then there's 3 things to unplug. Okay, I am on the lookout for fuses. I'm hoping for 3, but there's just 1, and it's on the power supply. And when the other thing turns on, so it's not going to be that. Oh, we've got a nice fly there as well. Yeah, so we've had the spider's nest, and now we've got a dead fly. But underneath the dead fly, in the bottom there, I can see a glass fuse, but I really was hoping to see 3 of those. There are a couple of different variants of this, I believe, looking through the service manual, and one of them has a fuse for each of the different channels. Yeah, unfortunately for me, the problem lies here. Okay, well, it's not this entire area. I suspect it's in this section on this board. We've got the power going in here. We've got the plug which goes off to the 3 speakers there. So it's going to be somewhere on here, I'd imagine. Most likely just something as simple as one of these things that's failed. But I'm not the kind of person that could diagnose stuff that's wrong with electronics. It's not my forte. In fact, I don't know what is yet. One day I'll figure it out, but it's certainly not repairing things like this. Now, of course, there are people online who can do stuff like this, and whenever I have something that I can't fix, there'll be, I don't know, 50, 60 people say, send it to Mend It Mark. And Mend It Mark is a great channel on YouTube. He's a really nice fella, but he's not a charity. He doesn't want everyone's things sending to him, least of all mine, especially this thing, which is going to cost me more to send to him and for him to send back, given the size and weight of it, and add on the cost of the repairs on that, than the thing cost me in the first place. I mean, it cost me very little, this. So at the moment, it's a rhythm-making CD player with a poor quality amplifier as far as the built-in speakers go, but you can send it off to an external device. So I think I'm just going to leave it there. But as far as getting one of these that plays properly goes, well, I do have an alternative solution. So I got another one. Now hear me out. This made sense to me at the time because this was being offered on eBay at a very low price, because the CD player in it didn't work, and yet the rest of it looked to be in excellent condition, and the seller mentioned it had a really bassy sound, I think, or something along those lines. So it sounded like the woofer in this worked. It looked to be in great condition. I think you can guess what my plan was. Get the CD player out of mine and put it into this one and have one complete, fully functional unit. So I ordered it, and then I started looking at the instructions for how to get the CD player out of this thing, or out of mine and out of this one, and swap them around, and it doesn't look like very much fun. I thought it would just be a quick unplug job and screw in a new one and that'll be it. But no, I think there's more to it than that. Okay, so I was prepared to go along and do that. And then this arrived a lot later than it should have done. It was dispatched, then it floated around for a week for absolutely no reason. But it got here and it's got a nasty rattle. And I've got a feeling this one has got damaged in transit. So we'll have a look. Maybe I'm worrying too much because the power lead was in a box. That's rattling about. Hopefully it was just that. Okay, let's get it out of here. Yeah, there's definitely something rattling in there. And oops. Oh, there you go. Are you okay there? Hopefully this is okay as well. Hopefully that's nothing, but I think what we should do, plug in a power lead and see if this centre speaker, this woofer, is working, so we can have a listen to what this thing should actually sound like. Right, I'm half expecting this thing to go pop, but we'll find out. Power's in, power is on, and let's just go to the rhythm section. Yeah, we've definitely got some centre speaker activity going on now. I have no idea what I pressed with my arm then. Ah, right, okay. Well, that sounds good. Probably not to the camera because you're just listening through this thing again. Let me switch it the other way so that you're listening from the camera's end, and I'll play some audio into it. I'm connected up over Bluetooth. Let's have a listen. Oh yeah, that's better. That's fun now. Now it's got the speaker going. With that. So I think we should investigate this. What we should do actually, it does have a kind of self-diagnosis mode for the CD player. Let's have a look at that. I'll just pop a disc in here. And nothing's happening. It's not spinning up at all. That's what's wrong with it. It's completely dead. I thought it would be the laser, but no, it's the actual mechanism. You'll see that logo there. Doesn't move at all. So yeah, no power getting through to this. Now I do have some service information, things I can check, but I think we already know what the fault is. It's busted, but let's do that. So I think what you have to do here, turn the power on, put it into the CD mode, press the stop button for 2 seconds, then press the fast forward button, and the letter T appears on the display. So we're supposed to open this up now, close it, press stop, and then we get an error code, F15. Okay, so F15, well, the symptom of F15 is that it takes an excessive time for a CD to play, yeah, forever. And the cause, the optical pickup inner circumference position detection switch is faulty. I don't think it's that, because there's just no power getting through to this thing at all. Let's just open it up, and I'll just switch it on and off just in case this test mode stops it from playing a disc. And I want to just press the switch here that the plastic bit goes into when the lid closes to tell it the lid's closed, and that should activate the mechanism. Yeah, nothing there. Okay, it looks like we're going to have to open this up and see exactly what's going on. Fingers crossed it's just a wire that's fallen out. Chances are it isn't. That bit's broken. It's been tightened up too much. I think someone's already been in here. Just want to show you something though before I take the lid off this. Let me get the other one out a minute. Just look at that colour difference. My original one's clearly been exposed to the sun, whereas this one hasn't. Perhaps it's only been lightly used. It's just unfortunate the CD player isn't working. Anyway, let's get on and see if we can figure out why. Looks like this cord is also going to fall off as well, because I can see a crack on there. I'll glue those bits back on again if I manage to get this one working. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so why is this not working? And should I swap it out for another one? Because if I do that, is it that the power's not getting through to this? And that would be a complete waste of time. I mean, the mechanism here might be working just fine. Okay, now as far as this CD mechanism goes, the only connection I can see going into it is this ribbon cable, which of course looks just fine. Looking in the manual earlier, it seemed to indicate there were some soldered power wires going into this, but I can't see those, so perhaps I'm misreading it. I just want to make sure that I can get the ribbon cable out of this and put it back in the other one without any problem. So let's just see if it slides out nicely. Yeah, okay, so just a matter of poking it into that there. Right, obviously blue side up as well. Okay, so hopefully the fault is in here and not in here. We'll find out in a minute. Okay, next patient. Now, of course, I could just take this whole unit and swap it with the other one, but the problem is that the amplifier is also in this section, and that was the problem with this one. So I think what we need to do is just take the CD player out and hope that it's going to work. If not, we can always get the amplifier out the other one and put it in here. But we'll try the CD player first, because that looks to be the easiest fix. At least I now know from that other one that this piece of metal is just stuck on with a bit of adhesive, so we just need to get that off. And now we've got proper access to this, so we can lift it out here and take the ribbon cable out. Right, okay, one functional CD unit. Right, really not a fan of these ribbon cables, but I think we've got that one in there properly, so let's pop this back on. And again, just for testing purposes, I'll only put a couple of screws in this just to hold it in place. And if it all works out, we'll put everything back where it should be, including that piece of metal. Right, power on, CD closed. Oh, no, it is dead. Yeah, it's somewhere else in the machine. Yeah, that's goosed. Okay, so we just put a good CD drive into a device that cannot play a CD due to some other fault. And given that the CD player in here probably works just fine, the problem lies elsewhere, we might as well pop it back in. Maybe one day I'll return to this and see if I can fix it up. Right, so that's back in place. The bit we need to take out now is this, and looking at it, I originally thought some of this was soldered in, but it is, however, only at this end. connectors like this are just screwed in at the other end. So we'll see if we can get this board out without too much hassle, because I'm pretty sure this one is working fine, and that's the one that we need to swap with the other one. Right, so this should lift out now once we get that ribbon cable disconnected. Right, okay, so hopefully this is a fully functional board, and by swapping it into the other one, I'll get the power back to the woofer. Alternatively, the problem with the woofer didn't lie on this board in the other one, and the problem with the CD player does, and therefore putting this in the other one, I'll get a device with a non-functional woofer and a non-functional CD player. Only one way to find out. Okay, so I'll start by putting my fully functional CD player back inside this. At least it was fully functional when I took it out, and then we'll move on to the power/amplification board. Right, out with the old, in with the old. That was a bit of a fiddle, but we got it in there. Okay, well, everything's back where it should be. The lid's not fitting right. I'll have to look into that, but I haven't put the screws in it because I just have the feeling that I'm going to have to take everything apart again. Let's hope not. We'll put the power in the back here and give it a go. So, ignore the fact that it's squashing down on some wires, I think, in the middle. Turn the power on. Right, CD's lit up. I think I've got the volume maximum. Let's put a CD in. Oh, it's exactly what I feared. That power supply board isn't powering up this CD player. So the fault lies on that power board for the CD player. Okay, well, let's just see if it's going to play through the woofer. I'm not hearing anything. Oh, brilliant. Okay, let's see if we've got the rhythm section going on this. Yeah, no, we haven't got any output on this at all now, have we? Okay. Let's have another look inside. Okay, so after triple checking, quadruple checking, then checking it again for a good hour or so, I couldn't figure out what was wrong, so I ended up putting the original power board back in this one. CD player's working again now. And the rhythm section, well, that one's working, so we're pretty much back to where we started, because unfortunately that woofer is still not functional, but at least this part works. So on this one we've got a CD player which we couldn't use to an external source. The internal sound isn't all that great, although it's bearable. What I need to do now is put the other power board back in the other one, just to see if it's going to work at all. I've got a feeling this thing might be completely dead now. Just moving it around might have killed it. Let's find out. Okay, now I think this is the thing that was rattling around inside the case. It's just a piece of board that separates two components here. It doesn't actually do anything, and it's only held in place with a couple of pieces of plastic. So one good knock and it could drop down into the bottom. So I'll just pop that back in place. Okay, there we go. It's all plugged back in again. What are the odds that this is going to do nothing? Let's put the power in the back. I'm expecting I'm going to get no action out of this, so hold on. Right, well, it's on the CD. Let's just go to the rhythm, see if we can hear anything. Yeah, silent. Oh, no, hold on. Okay. That is weird, isn't it? So the board in this, when it goes in the other one, it's silent. Can anyone explain that? Okay, let's put a CD in here. This is not going to work, but let's try. Yeah, still dead. Not a surprise at all. Let me just try playing something into the back via my Bluetooth adapter. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we're back to where we started. We have one device that functions as a Bluetooth speaker, effectively, with a Bluetooth adapter in the back. It's got a working woofer. Everything on it works apart from the CD player. And then we've got the other device that everything on it works apart from the woofer. But combining the two, and neither of them work. Very odd. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there, I think. Let's sum this one up. Now just hold that thought for a minute, because this is an extra section I'm putting in the video as a result of feedback I got from people on Patreon when I put an earlier edit of this video out on there. I tend to put the videos on there a few days early just to see if there's anything that's like a sticking point that I didn't make very clear, or I need to elaborate or expand on, or whatever. I'll put an overlay on the screen. And as a result of that, on this video, well, quite a few people said that I hadn't tested the woofer. Maybe the woofer is dead. Now, remember, the initial problem that I had was the first device worked just fine, the woofer didn't work. Okay, so I thought that a blown speaker, well, from my experience, whenever I've heard a blown speaker, it sounds like a blown speaker. And to me, that sounds like the speaker in my friend's 1978 Ford Capri back in the day, that when you turn the radio on, it went... And you go, oh, yeah, the left-hand speaker's blown. That's a blown speaker to me. Well, apparently, a blown speaker can also be a completely dead speaker. It's good to learn something new at this grand old age. So, as a result, I'm now going to open that first one up again and test if the speaker's blown, like dead is a term that I'd prefer to use. So, the way that I can test that, apparently, is with a continuity test. Put one to each of the terminals, and if it makes a sound, then there's continuity going through the speaker. If it doesn't, then it means that speaker's dead. Now, if that speaker's dead, we know where we've got a live one in the other unit, so it's just a matter of swapping the speakers out. Let's find out. Okay, moment of truth. Let's just put this into continuity mode. Right, so when we touch the probes together, we get a beep. Let's find out. Right, okay. Kind of a relief in a way. It means the speaker's fine, but unfortunately it also means now I can't just swap the speakers across to get the thing working. And another suggestion somebody made was to test the speaker out with a AA battery. So you just put one terminal on there and attach it up with a wire. I'm just using a headphone wire, but it'll do the job. Can you hear that? Yeah, this speaker can produce noise. Okay, well, it turns out that I'm not a complete fool on this occasion, at least, because the speaker is working just fine. It's just the audio isn't getting through to it from the rest of the device. So I'm going to put this back in the case. Now, I am going to continue to investigate the cause of the problem, but I'm going to do that off camera and another day, because I'm going to move on to other things. Some people have pointed me in the direction of the components that might be responsible for the lack of audio on the woofer. So I'll look into that, but for this video, we're going to leave it there for the moment. But before I go back to my original outro, I just want to say that one thing I didn't make particularly clear in this video, and I meant to mention it specifically in the intro, was that this device doesn't run on batteries. I'm sure it came across, but just in case anyone wants to ask, no, it's not a battery powered device, and that really is why it's not a boombox. Even though I looked up the definition of boombox and it said a portable music playing device, I think they're implying that it should run off batteries. This thing definitely doesn't. You'll always need a plug socket. But as anyone who has a massive boombox knows, you don't really want to go sticking 8 D cells in one of those things. It's much better plugging it in if you possibly can. Anyway, let's get back to me from perhaps a day or so ago. Now, if you want to get hold of one of these, well, I mean, I'd think carefully about it, because after all these years, they are getting a little bit unreliable. But if you did, well, mine came from eBay, and the prices on there haven't been ridiculous. There's usually been 1 or 2 listed whenever I've looked. I can't imagine they've sold many of these, but they've survived due to its rugged nature. And the prices have been quite reasonable because they haven't entered into that boombox collector's market where the prices have gone astronomical for your big boomboxes, because it's not a boombox. So that's kept the price low, or down. There you go. That is the SY-PA100. An unusual device from Panasonic, and quite a bit of fun to play around with. But anyway, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.